sprays, whole everything, all over the whole city of New York. Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart looking like ancient people. I ain't lying. These young ladies look sensational. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn.
Hands, nice pass. Timpson.
I'm not even gonna lie. The Fever bench is nasty, bro. They might have Caitlin Clark Burley. Caitlin Clark ain't really played that much, man. But the most, to me, Raven Johnson stuck out. Now, granted, she only had 6 points. She had 8 assists, 0 turnovers, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, plus 3 blocks, and she was 3 for 3 from the field.
She finished
worth that money, man. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this right here. Watch Kelsey Mitchell. Laser. Dark. Splash, bruh. Splash.
She is bringing up
Johnson, bro. Raven Johnson get coast to coast on this. Watch it. Watch it. My goodness, Raven looked a good job. Coast to coast, bro. And Caitlin Clark made it look easy. Sophie Cunningham came out gunslinging. Gunslinging threes. Sophie looked like she could have got that.
The mainstream sports media is in full panic mode right now, desperately trying to delete their old tweets and pretend they never doubted what just happened in Brooklyn. Because last night, the Indiana Fever walked into the Barclays Center missing 4 key players and absolutely destroyed the defending Eastern Conference champions by 18 points. And I'm talking about a complete, total, merciless beatdown that has the entire WNBA on high alert and the Liberty front office in organizational shock. Here's what nobody else is telling you about this 109-91 massacre. 24 hours ago, when that devastating injury report dropped showing Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, Tasha Harris, and Damaris Dantas all out, the so-called experts were writing Indiana's obituary. They said this depleted roster would get physically bullied by the Liberty's championship-proven starting 5. They said the bench was too inexperienced, too raw, too unproven to compete against Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu on the road. But here's what those lazy analysts completely missed. This injury crisis was actually a perfectly disguised blessing that would force Stephanie White to finally unleash the depth that nobody wanted to evaluate. And get this, the Liberty coaching staff treated this like Game 7 of the finals. Sandy Brondello had her team completely locked in, running their full championship rotation against what everyone assumed would be easy prey. Breanna Stewart, the former MVP, came out ready to dominate. Sabrina Ionescu was supposed to cook Indiana's makeshift backcourt. Jonquil Jones was going to feast in the paint with Boston's sideline. Instead, all 3 of them looked like ancient relics trying to keep up with an Olympic track team. The Fever pushed pace so aggressively that these championship veterans were gasping for air by the second quarter. Now here's where it gets absolutely wild. The casual fans and Bitterbox score watchers are going to look at Caitlin Clark's stat line and completely miss what actually happened. 7 points on 2 of 10 shooting in 17 minutes, that looks terrible on paper, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. Clark didn't struggle for even 1 second. She completely broke New York's defensive system without needing to score. Within 5 minutes, she had Brondello's entire coaching staff in panic mode, face guarding her 30 feet from the basket and throwing multiple defenders at her just to deny a clean catch. But here's the kicker: Clark turned those triple teams into an absolute chess masterpiece. 4 assists, 0 turnovers against the most aggressive trapping defense in the Eastern Conference. 0 turnovers while operating without her primary screening partner in Aaliyah Boston. When you foolishly commit 3 elite defenders to stop 1 player 30 feet from the rim, you're mathematically creating 4-on-3 advantages everywhere else. Clark's gravitational pull opened up uncontested driving lanes for every single teammate. The psychological threat of her logo threes completely short-circuited New York's entire defensive game plan. Hold up, because that's not even the most insane part of this story. The Indiana Fever bench, the same bench that critics called an absolute disaster waiting to happen, scored 62 points. 62 points from the second unit against a championship contender. The mainstream media spent months screaming that Indiana's draft picks were redundant, that the roster lacked functional depth, that this team would collapse the moment Clark sat down. Last night, those highly criticized bench players stepped onto a national stage and violently dominated a super team. Let me tell you about Raven Johnson, because this performance just silenced every single hater who called her a wasted draft pick. With Tasha Harris injured, Johnson was thrown into major minutes against an elite championship-tested backcourt. And what did this so-called positional overlap do under massive pressure? She orchestrated an absolute masterclass in two-way basketball. 6 points on perfect 3 of 3 shooting, but scoring wasn't even the story. 3 steals, 3 blocks, terrorizing New York's guards all night long. She was jumping, passing lanes, fighting through screens, and refusing to let the Liberty breathe for a single second. But wait, it gets even better. Johnson dished out 8 assists with 0 turnovers, 8 assists, 0 turnovers against the defending Eastern Conference champions. She ran that second unit with the poise of a 10-year veteran, pushed pace with blinding speed, and finished with a massive +14 rating. She mathematically proved that she can orchestrate the offense at an elite level while allowing Clark to get necessary rest without the system collapsing. The vocal critics who screamed about positional redundancy are embarrassingly silent today. And because of Clark's gravitational pull creating mathematical advantages, the Indiana veterans absolutely feasted. Kelsey Mitchell stepped onto that Barclays center floor and proved exactly why she's worth every penny of her $1.4 million Supermax contract. 17 minutes, 18 highly efficient points, 7 of 12 from the field with 2 3-pointers. When the ball touches Mitchell's hands in the half-court, it's undeniable cash. She finished with a staggering +20 rating, while completely demoralizing Liberty defenders who were too focused on stopping Clark. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Sophie Cunningham stepped into the starting lineup and came out absolutely gunslinging. 13 points on elite 5 of 8 shooting, including 3 massive daggers from beyond the arc. But it wasn't just the shooting, it was the unmatched level of physical toughness and swagger she brought. Aggressively rebounding against bigger players, defending with pure grit, operating with extreme confidence that had the Liberty rattled. Watching Cunningham dominate like this makes it painfully obvious that Indiana's front office should have given her a significantly larger contract extension. Now listen to this part, because this is where the story gets absolutely crazy. Remember Justine Pissott, the 6'4" sharpshooter that Indiana's front office allegedly wanted to cut just to save salary cap space? In exactly 10 minutes of restricted playing time, she completely justified every single scouting report. 8 points, 2 of 3 from deep, and a staggering +16 rating. +16 in 10 minutes against championship-level competition. When you put a 6'4" sniper on the wing, opposing defenses physically cannot rotate fast enough to contest her shot. But here's where we need some brutal honesty, because despite this massive offensive explosion, there were deeply concerning issues that Stephanie White cannot ignore. Monique Billings was an absolute disaster in the paint. With Boston out, the rotational burden to protect the interior fell on veteran shoulders, and Billings looked completely lost. 0 physical resistance against players like Jonquil Jones and Breanna Stewart. She was outplayed by hungry rookies and provided virtually no meaningful post presence. If she can't anchor the paint in a backup role, that fully guaranteed contract becomes a severe liability. And get this, giving up 91 points in 40 minutes is completely unacceptable for a championship-caliber team. Yes, Indiana's offense was an unstoppable buzzsaw, but those defensive lapses are exactly what happens when coaching staffs lack the ruthless urgency to demand perfection. There were repetitive moments of miscommunication, missed switches on the perimeter, and glaring lack of weak-side help that allowed easy buckets at the rim. You can get away with defensive mistakes when you're scoring 109 points, but when the regular season starts and offensive shooting goes cold, those same lapses will cost you games. So here's the bottom line that has the entire WNBA shook. Indiana walked into a hostile arena, missing 4 key players, and mercilessly humiliated a championship contender on their home floor. The bench is shockingly deep. Raven Johnson is a legitimate two-way weapon, and Clark's gravitational presence is breaking elite defensive coordinators' minds without her even shooting well. The preseason narratives are being destroyed by actual game tape, and the live bullets are finally flying. But the question remains, can Stephanie White fix these defensive issues before they become championship-killing problems? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Did Johnson just silence her haters with that 8-assist masterclass? Does White need to bench Billings immediately? And has Pissott guaranteed her roster spot with that incredible +16 performance? Smash that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes to what really happened. Subscribe for the deepest analysis after every Fever game, and hit notifications because this season is about to get absolutely wild.